The October 2023 Trustees public session will now come to order. I would like to point out that this is the first time we've ever had two venues for such a meeting. We do have Dr. Lindsay, Vice Chair Dr. Chen, Trustees Moore, and Trustees Price Jones attending the 2023 ACT Leadership Congress. And I assure you they've been working, doing presentations out there on our behalf. I also want to point out that Trustee Moore is running for office for the diversity representation for the Northeast region, and she will have to leave in about 45 minutes, so we'll excuse her. But in the meantime, we do have a quorum in session. I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have a second, and is there any discussion? Then Shintanami, please call the roll.
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Uvala.
Approve.
Vice Chair Chen.
Approved.
Trustee Chowdhury.
Approve.
Trustee Johnson.
Approve.
Trustee Moore.
Approved.
Trustee Price Jones.
Approved.
Trustee Stanton Buttram. Trustee Gwynn.
Approved.
Thank you, Chair Uvala. This motion passes.
Thank you very much. Again, welcome to the October Board of Trustees meeting. I would like to now entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda, which would be the approvals of our public session September 12, 2023, the minutes on our special session on October 2nd, 2023, and the approval of the minutes on our October 2nd closed session 2023. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Then Chitanami, would you please call for the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Uvala.
Approve?
Vice Chair Chen.
Approved.
Trustee Chowdhury. Trustee Johnson.
Approve.
Trustee Moore.
Approved.
Trustee Price Jones.
Approved.
Trustee Stanton Buttram. Trustee Gwynn.
Approved.
Thank you. Chair Uvala, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. Before we start our reports for October, I want to remind the trustees that when you are speaking, you would want to turn your mic on and also have it close enough to you so the folks that are on the stream can hear us talk. We had some complaints last month that we weren't being heard too clearly, so please just remember to do that. Let's start off with our Board Development Committee. Trustee Price Jones, can you give us your monthly report?
Yes, thank you. The Board Development Committee met on September 28th. The committee did a recap of last year's board activities, which included diversity, equity, and inclusion training by Dr. Kelly McCants Price, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, and Professor Forrest Caskey, Communications Training provided by Dan Baum, Executive Director, and the 2023 Annual Board Assessment. And the DISC training, and the DISC assessment by Blue Water Advisory, which was a personal assessment tool used to help improve teamwork, communication, and productivity in the workplace. Also, the committee would like to remind the board that there's a board goal tracking sheet available in Diligent under the Resources Center to help trustees keep track of their activities that they participate in throughout the year. The committee will develop the 2023 Annual Board Assessment that will be sent to board members in May, and we will report the results to the full board in June. There are board training and professional development opportunities offered by the Association of Community College Trustees, Association of Governing Boards, and the American Association of Community Colleges. These opportunities will continue to be listed in the weekly update to the board. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Price Jones. Are there any questions? Then we'll move into the Board Policy Oversight Committee. Vice Chair Dr. Chen, would you give us your monthly report and then move into your actual action item? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Uvula. As we discussed last month, we are bringing forward the employee grievance policy as an action item today. The employee grievance policy is a new policy. Currently, the college's employee grievance process is contained in the college manual and pertains only to individuals within a constituency group. The new employee grievance policy will be consistent with the Middle States of Higher Education Commission's Standard 2 Ethics and Integrity, in which institutions have a grievance policy that is documented and disseminated and ensures the policy is fair and impartial and addresses grievances promptly, appropriately, and equitably. Legal counsel, AACC staff, and the college's constituency groups have reviewed this new policy and provided feedback, which has been incorporated into the final draft. If the board approves the policy, it will become effective on the date it is posted on the college's website after its approval by the board. This concludes my report. The Board of Trustees is asked to approve the employee grievance policy that I just described for the reasons I just described. It has been approved by all the necessary stakeholders, and I ask President Lindsay to make the motion.
The Board of Trustees is asked to approve the new employee grievance policy as shown in Exhibit 1.
Do we have such a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Thank you.
Second.
We have a second already. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, Shintani, will you call the roll, please?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Uvula,
Approve?
Vice Chair Chen,
Approved?
Trustee Chowdhury,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Moore,
Approve.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approved.
Trustee Stanton Buttram, Trustee Gwynn.
Approve.
Thank you, Chair Uvula. This motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll continue with our committee reports. The Budget Committee, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. The Board Budget Committee met via Zoom on October the 5th and discussed the following topics: FY 2023 Final Financial Status Report, FY 2024 August 31st Financial Status Report and Capital Budget, and FY 2025 Budget, Preliminary Guiding Principles and Base Assumptions. The committee also discussed future meetings. First, the committee discussed the final FY 2023 Operating Budget Status Report. It was noted that this report had been updated for the final year in closing adjustments. The annual results show that tuition and fee revenue and other income exceeded the budget due to increased increased enrollment and higher interest rates earned on cash balances. The college ended the year with a balanced budget operating within existing resources consistent with prior projections. Second, The committee also received the FY 2024 operating budget projection as of August 31st. These are very early results, but the projection showed a balanced budget with tuition and fee revenue projected above budget due to the increased fall enrollment. The college is projecting that all functional expenditure areas will remain within the budgeted amounts. The committee discussed the importance of managing the tuition stabilization fund balance, which will be analyzed in more detail during the FY 2025 budget development process. The college will continue to monitor enrollment and expenditures to ensure a balanced budget. Next, the committee discussed the capital budget related to the status of the pedestrian bridge repair and the potential budget implications as the college is awaiting cost estimates to complete this critical project. Finally, the committee reviewed and provided feedback on the preliminary guiding principles and base assumptions which will guide the development of the college's FY 2025 budget. The committee's next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November the 9th. This concludes my report.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Johnson? Okay, continuing then with committee reports. Facility Committee, Trustee Moore.
Thank you, Trustee Uvala. The Facilities Committee met via Zoom on August 29th to discuss the pedestrian bridge and on September 5th to discuss the following topics: BGE right-of-way agreement, future procurements, campus projects, and future meetings. On August 29th, the committee met in a special meeting to hear an update on the status of the pedestrian bridge and supported the college's plan to address the issue. The full board received a written update on the college's plan to make repairs and minimize the impact on students in the September 1st weekly update. At the September 5th meeting, the committee discussed the BGE right-of-way agreement, which is on our agendas tonight for approval. Next, the committee discussed the list of future procurements. Lastly, the committee also received an update on campus projects, specifically the pedestrian bridge, Florestano building renovation, the Broadneck Trail, and the GBTC renovation. Thank you. That's the report. Okay, why did I have that?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was reading from the wrong month. I apologize, but now that you've reheard all of that, let me try this one. Okay. The Facilities Committee October 3rd meeting was canceled, and in its place is being in the process of being rescheduled for the third week in October. The meeting was canceled to accommodate the anticipated date that the board agenda item for the emergency pedestrian bridge repairs will be ready. An additional board agenda item may also be brought forward for the replacement of the Cade Building cooling tower. The committee will review the draft board agenda items before they are brought to the full board for approval. And this finally concludes my report. Chair Uvala.
Thank you for such a complete report. Do we have any questions? Okay, then if we can continue back up to the Human Resources Committee and Trustee Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Board HR Committee met via Zoom on September the 4th to discuss the following topics: collective bargaining, open enrollment, and lockdown drills. First, the committee received an update on the college's efforts to respond to the election petition. It moved on me, okay. Petition from the Service Employees International Union, or Local 500, to serve as the exclusive representative of the part-time faculty. Next, the committee heard an update on the college's employee benefits changes and the upcoming open enrollment period for employees. The college partners with Anne Arundel County for employees' benefits, and as such, any rate increases and plan design changes are made by the county. For calendar year 2024, there are no planned design changes, but there are rate increases for the health and vision plans and no rate changes for dental. The open enrollment period is during the month of October. Last, the committee received an update on the upcoming lockdown drills, which are required by state law. The drills begin in October and will continue into early November. Drills are scheduled building by building, with 1 or 2 buildings conducting the drill each day. Once the building alarm sounds, the drill entails people staying in their classroom, offices, and other spaces until the all clear is issued. College staff evaluate the effectiveness of the drills and develop future training opportunities. This concludes my report.
Any questions for Dr. Johnson? Okay, we'll go on to Student Success Committee, Vice Chair Dr. Chen.
Thank you, Chair Uvula. The Student Success Committee met on September 19th and received an update about fall enrollment, first-year retention rates, and African-American male student success. While Dr. Felicia Patterson will be providing an in-depth fall enrollment presentation to the board in November, the committee received an update on fall credit FTE and headcount enrollment, dual enrollment, and retention rates. Additionally, the committee received an update about African-American male retention, completion, and course success, as the college is committed to removing barriers for students and responding to one of the long-term equity gaps pointed to in the MHEC PAR report. The committee had a great discussion and learned more about the college's programs and initiatives to support student success. This concludes my report.
Do we have any questions for Dr.
Yes.
Chen?
Yeah, I have, Dr. Chen, I have a question. Yeah, we discussed. I would like to know that does this report also include, we want to see the statistics why students are dropping off. Is there any reason, is that going to be included in the report or not?
The report is as stated for the record.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Okay, any other questions?
Oh, follow-up information was sent to the committee.
Thank you. While you're there, you want to go ahead into your foundation report?
Sorry, we're having a little bit of a discussion here. Yes, if Trustee Gwynn could read the student thank you letter, please.
Dear donor, I am writing to express great gratitude for the Tate Automotive Group Scholarship. I am very appreciative and truly thankful that you are helping me further my education. People who help students like me are the true heroes in our community. My mom welled up in tears of joy and appreciation when she learned about the support I would receive. Anne Arundel Community College is a great place filled with academic achievement and community values. The professors are very passionate in their lectures, and there are many organizations for students to be a part of, share similar interests, and strengthen community bonds. I am truly lucky to have the opportunity to pursue my education here. I am also grateful for the college's accessibility. All 3 campuses are accessible on the bus route, and I can travel from campus to campus conveniently. AACC has truly helped me grow as a person and develop strong values of achievement and determination. My passion is helping others. That is why I chose to major in nursing. My goal in life is to help others in their time of need and make sure others have access to safe and reliable health care. After AACC, I plan to continue my studies at the University of Maryland School of Nursing. Thanks to your generosity, I am on my way to making my dreams come true. Words cannot begin to describe the appreciation I feel. Thank you for believing in me.
You want to continue with your report?
Yes, thank you. Again, we were having a sidebar. As of September 30th, 2023, the foundation's fundraising total is $2.03 million in gifts and commitments exceeding the fiscal year goal of 2 million. AACCF has a goal of raising 500,000 for the Future Nursing Professionals Scholarship. To date, donors have given just over 75,000 to this initiative. In addition, AACCF has a goal to raise 75,000 for HelpLink and HelpLink for Nursing. Since July 1, donors have given 47,000 in this area. In the past month, the AACC Foundation was notified that they were the recipient of an extraordinary gift, a 1.7 million gift from the estate of Ethel Williams. Mrs. Williams was a lifelong Maryland resident who believed in the power of education. We understand that she chose to leave a portion of her estate to AACC because she wanted to support students who may not have the opportunity or resources to initially attend a four-year college or university. This new scholarship will be established in perpetuity and will provide scholarships to approximately 40 students each year at AACC. The AACC Foundation is honored and extremely grateful to receive this inspiring gift that will have an impact on students fulfilling their educational goals and dreams at AACC. The AACC Foundation's FY23 audited financial statements were accepted by the Board of Directors at their meeting on September 27th. The foundation raised over $3 million in gifts and commitments. In FY23, the foundation also transferred over $1 million to the college for direct scholarship aid to students, with an additional $300,000 transferred for specific programmatic needs. You should have received an invitation to a donor cultivation event hosted by the foundation on October 24th from 5 to 6:30 in the evening in the Health and Life Sciences building to support the Future Nursing Professionals Scholarship Initiative. RSVPs are due this Friday, so make sure you call in. We hope you can join us. If you have someone who you would like to invite to this event, please reach out to Voley Melson. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? What a great report, by the way. Thank you very much. Good news. Thanks, Volley. You do have an action item that we want to move on into, and that's where Volley's going to present it to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Monetary donation as delineated in Section 2D of the procedures for naming college properties. Mr. Dan Mathias and Mrs. Tanya Mathias are the donors who wish to name Room 129 in the Health and Life Sciences building in honor of Mr. Mathias's mother, Dr. Elizabeth Mathias, Faculty Emeritus. Mr. and Mrs. Mathias satisfy the conditions and criteria set forth in the college's naming procedures. The donors have a generous history of giving and will enter into a new gift commitment that corresponds to this naming. The donors and the honoree have a close relationship to AACC. Mr. Mathias is a graduate of AACC. He has also been a member of the AACC Foundation Board since 2017, and he currently serves as chair of the board and board president. Dr. Mathias, the honoree, was a faculty member at our college for 24 years. Chairing the nursing department and serving as Dean of Technical and Career Education. In their lifetimes, the donor and the honoree have demonstrated personal qualities whereby it would be appropriate to have their names associated with the college. Mr. Mathias is a respected business leader. He and his wife are active volunteers and community leaders, and Dr. Mathias has helped this college deliver new education programs to meet community needs. If named, room 129 in the Health and Life Sciences Center building would be called the Dr. Elizabeth Mathias Life Science Tutoring Center. If the motion's approved, the foundation will cover the cost associated with signage for this room.
Okay.
Board is
Dawn, excuse me, Dr. Lindsay, would you read the main motion?
That's no problem. That the Board of Trustees approve naming room 129 in the Health and Life Sciences Building to Dr. Elizabeth Mathias Life Sentence Tutoring Center, which meets the conditions and criteria set forth in the procedures for naming college properties, programs, and positions.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion or questions for Volley? Hearing none, Chantalany, would you please call the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Uvala,
Approve.
Vice Chair Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Chowdhury,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Moore,
Approve.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Gwynn.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Uvala, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Volley. Very good. Now we'll move into our President's report because there is no Audit and Finance Committee report for this month. Dr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Chair Uvala. I'm pleased to report that as of October the 2nd, our fall enrollment is up 8% from the same time last year. We've exceeded our final target by 141.9 FTE, and Dr. Patterson will be providing an in-depth report update in the November board meeting. I'd like to congratulate our athletic director, Dwayne Hare, as he was named 2022-23 National Junior College Association Region 20 Athletic Director of the Year. This award recognizes the professionalism and program excellence in academics, sportsmanship, as well as contributions to Region 20 and professional development. Congratulations to Dwayne on this wonderful recognition. This month, I've had the pleasure of attending a few events that our amazing faculty and staff organized for the college and the community. On September the 19th, in recognition of Constitution Day, I attended a very engaged scholarship event hosted by our Legal Studies Institute, which focused on affirmative action in the most recent Supreme Court decision. On September 21st, I stopped by the Community Service Fair sponsored by the Sarbanes Center for Career and Civic Engagement, which provided the opportunity for faculty, staff, and students to talk to local nonprofits about their volunteer opportunities. That was the same day as our transfer fair that provided our students the opportunity to connect with representatives from almost 40 colleges and universities in Maryland and neighboring states to gather more information about the transfer process and financial aid. I'd like to thank everyone who helped organize these amazing events for our students. As we have more students back on campus, I've begun to schedule my monthly lunches with students so that I can hear directly from them what's working at AACC and what we should be doing better. Last month, I had lunch with members of the Student Government Association and the African Student Association. AAC is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and the committee has organized some wonderful events ranging from art exhibits to salsa and dance lessons. AACC also participated in the Hispanic Health Festival on Saturday, September 30th at the Heritage Community Church in Severn. I was honored to accept a check on behalf of the Hispanic Scholarship Program for $1,500. I'd like to acknowledge the fact that Dr. Patterson and Dr. Milner were both present with me and had their departments there in order to provide resource assistance to the participants. On October the 5th and 6th, as chair for the League of Innovation, I attended the St. Louis College site visit as they are seeking reaffirmation for the league, and from there made my way to the Association of Community College Trustees Leadership Conference, and this is where we are today. Yesterday, Trustee Joyce Price Jones and I participated in a pre-symposium panel about Black learner experience and discussed the importance of college presidents and trustees advocating for Black learner experiences. And earlier this morning, Vice Chair Dr. Nadine Chen, Trustee Sandy Moore, Vice President Dr. Felicia Patterson, and I had the opportunity to present about the success of the college's Enrollment Retention and Completion Council. Trustee Moore is also seeking the Northeast Regional Delegate for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We will know more about that by the end of the current conference. And finally, Anne Arundel Community College will be hosting an open house on November the 1st at the Health and Life Sciences Building and the Student Union Building. Over 60 programs will be represented, and in addition, admissions, financial aid, and other support services will be available. I encourage everyone to spread the word with their personal and professional connections because we hope to see everybody there. And at this point in time, I would like Dr. Milner to please come forward to introduce Dr. Jody Hogan and her sabbatical report.
As Dr. Lindsay said, I'm here to introduce Dr. Jody Hogan. She is professor in the World Languages Department at AACC. She has been at the college for over 8 years. In a letter to the president, one of Dr. Hogan's students said, and she doesn't know that I'm going to say this, "I have been impressed at the dedication and superlative teaching in the Spanish classes from your talented professor. I went on to 5 classes with Professor Jody Hogan, who is one of the most gifted teachers due to her ability to teach with the most unique teaching methods. Her teaching style provides students with creative opportunities to build speaking and writing skills. She has enabled me to acquire Spanish at an intermediate level." Dr. Hogan used her sabbatical leave time to complete her doctoral studies at Liberty University. Her dissertation, Instructors' Experiences with Employing Kinesthetic Instructional Strategies in Gatekeeper Community College Courses, a single holistic case study, will be used to determine how students report connection with the classroom community and their perceived sense of learning and engagement in entry-level community college classes. Furthermore, Jody plans to continue her work by evaluating if instructional delivery that integrates active learning strategies affects course retention rates. So without further ado, I would like to ask Dr. Hogan to come to the podium to share her brilliant work with our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Milner. That was quite the surprise. I don't know if you're allowed to tell me who that student was, but I would love to know. Good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you to share my sabbatical report. So before I begin, I wanted to thank you all, the Board of Trustees, Dr. Lindsay from afar, Dr. Milner, my dean, Dr. Morris, and my assistant dean, Dr. Bueller, for granting me the opportunity to take an academic sabbatical and for your unwavering support as I embarked on this journey and finished it, yes. So as Dr. Milner shared, the title of my dissertation was Instructors' Experiences with Employing Kinesthetic Instructional Strategies in Gatekeeper Community College Courses. And yes, it was a single holistic case study. So the purpose of this qualitative study was to understand how community college instructors use kinesthetic instructional strategies to engage students enrolled in Gatekeeper college courses at a community college in the northeastern United States. So I had one central research question and 3 sub-questions. The central research question was, how do instructors describe the implementation and effectiveness of kinesthetic instructional strategies in Gatekeeper courses? The first sub-question was, how do instructors integrate kinesthetic instructional strategies in Gatekeeper college courses? The second sub-question, how do kinesthetic strategies help engage students within the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor learning domains? And finally, how do instructors describe how the implementation of kinesthetic strategies improves students' learning in Gatekeeper community college courses? So for the participants, the key criterion in selecting the participants of this study was that they had to be full-time or adjunct faculty members who use kinesthetic instructional strategies to either teach content, review content, or to provide brain breaks from academic content in a 100-level course at the community college level. So there were 16 participants. And to collect data, I conducted 16 individual interviews, 2 focus group sessions, and each participant responded to a hypothetical letter prompt. So the results. So I employed Braun and Clark's 6-phase framework for reflexive thematic analysis to synthesize the data gathered from the interviews, focus group meetings, and the participants' responses to the hypothetical letter. The participants' experiences unfolded into 5 themes and 20 initial themes/categories. For the sake of time, I'm going to briefly share how I interpreted those thematic findings. So the first interpretation is that instructors can potentially increase student engagement when they employ kinesthetic instructional strategies in gatekeeper community college courses. The participants reported that there was a significant increase in their students' participation and engagement in class activities when they integrated kinesthetic structures. They noted that kinesthetic structures motivated their students to be active participants in their classes because they were provided a framework for collaboration and relationships between students and between the students and the instructors. The participants reported that kinesthetic structures fuel students' physiological need for movement and to connect with others. The second interpretation is that kinesthetic structures lay a foundation for an inclusive classroom environment that is ideal for building community when they integrate kinesthetic structures into their courses. The participants' experiences revealed that kinesthetic instructional strategies provided a foundation for students to be active participants in their learning and allowed for more interactions with the instructor and between the students. They noted how kinesthetic instructional strategies build a foundation for fostering relationships that affect students both emotionally and academically. And finally, the third interpretation is that the integration of kinesthetic strategies can improve students' learning in gatekeeper courses because the strategies provide opportunities for the repetition of content, scaffolding, and formative assessment. The participants cited a total of 41 different activities throughout the data collection process. Their experiences revealed that the employment of kinesthetic strategies in gatekeeper courses provides opportunities for the repetition of content, which can help improve memory retention and recall, and help students make more cognitive connections to the content. So now you're wondering what I'm going to do next. Well, Dr. Milner shared some, but what I'm doing really at present is I'm collaborating with four of my colleagues, Sarah Eager, Dr. Jackie Gambone, Courtney Sable, and Deborah Hammond. And we're creating an IPD series called The Engagement Revolution. And we just offered our first session on October 4th. And in that IPD series, we are sharing with our fellow instructors various kinesthetic and cooperative engagement learning strategies that can be tailored to all content areas for students of all ages. And we really believe that this IPD will be welcomed by AACC's faculty as more dually enrolled students are joining our traditional and non-traditional student populations. So the findings of this study are what fueled the engagement revolution. And as a lifelong educator, I am absolutely ecstatic to be part of it. So the first IPD, like I said, is on October 4th. We plan to offer another one in January when instructors aren't teaching yet. They have a little bit more time to attend these things. And moving forward into next semester, offering an IPD where we talk about engaging students in synchronous and asynchronous environments. So before I end and ask if you have any questions, I really, as I was reflecting on today and this presentation, one word kept coming to mind, and that was gratitude. I am so thankful for this gift, for you all believing in me, for the gift of time, which is just so precious, for me to be able to really listen to my participants, transcribe hundreds of pages, come up with hundreds of codes to code that information. I'm just so thankful. I would not have been able to do that with a full teaching schedule and a family, as I'm sure you all can empathize. So I'm just very, very grateful. Thank you so much for your time, and I would welcome any questions that you have.
Do you have any questions for Dr. Hogan? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
great presentation. And I know who wrote that letter, by the way.
What's that? You know who wrote it, okay.
Dr. Lindsay?
I just want to say, Dr. Hogan, congratulations. Thank you for your passion and thank you for sharing it with Anne Arundel Community College. At this point in time, I'd like to ask Dan Baum, our Executive Director of Strategic Communications, to come forward with his report, please.
All right, well, thank you for the opportunity to share with you what we've been up to in strategic communications. I know it's about 1:30 where our remote participants are, but I just can't help myself. Good evening, Las Vegas. So I'm going to begin with a graphic that some of you are familiar with because I've made this type of presentation before, but for those of you who are not, this will be new information. This reflects a philosophy we practice in strategic communications, which is integrated marketing communications, which, as the name implies, we use a lot of different platforms and channels and strategies for an integrated approach for what we're communicating, so we have a unified message visually and verbally. Or to draw upon the Latin integritas, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that properly, is to make whole, renew, or begin again. And I think that's an appropriate way to look back on the past academic year as we were coming out of a global pandemic, that there was this sense of renewal at the college, and there was an enormous sense of collaboration. A lot of that was driven by the Enrollment Retention and Completion Committee, or ERCC, so you'll see that reflected in some of the campaigns I'm going to share with you. I also think it's important to note as board members that none of this was new money. It was all reallocation. I'm going to start with our overarching campaign. We always have an overarching campaign each year. For many years now, we've been using the theme Redefine Yourself. We periodically test that with focus groups with our students just to make sure it's still relevant, still resonates with students, and it's overall resoundingly yes to that question. We've also complemented that campaign with a focus on transfer. As we hear from Priya, that is one of the primary reasons that students come here is to transfer. We also heard from the faculty and from the deans this past year, they really would like us to focus more and more on programs. So we concentrated, with the help of Priya, on the highest enrolled programs. This is not an exhaustive list, but it gives you a feel for the types of programs that we were promoting in this campaign. And then also through ERCC, again, the Enrollment Retention Completion Committee, we heard from financial aid that they'd like us to shine a spotlight on financial aid, that students don't have to rely only on their sources of funding, but they can also receive aid. So you'll see that there is integration within the campaigns, but then also across the campaign, so it's obvious that it's Anne Arundel Community College. At the same time, ERCC requested that we look to our satellite locations, specifically North County, to promote those programs. And so we did a very targeted neighborhood-focused campaign around that, and then we drew from that messaging for the college-wide open house, which was new. We haven't done one of those in a long time. We did that last year, and we're doing that again this year. At the same time, the faculty were going into the high schools as a group. And so we supported those efforts with an integrated material so that when you walk in the room, you can clearly see this is Anne Arundel Community College. And who better to hear from about our programs than from faculty? Then the state did something rather interesting, which was an opportunity for us to communicate to those high school students in the county schools. Last year, the message was tuition-free college. This year, it's now free college. Also, during the pandemic, we received gear funding, which continued into last year, and that was a campaign built by AACC, but with that gear funding, we expanded it to a number of different professions, and that was then complemented by a Perkins grant to the college, and so we were able to concentrate on a number of other pathways and professions, as well as the amount of income that can be earned with those professions. So again, you see the integration within each campaign and then across the campaigns. It's a two-layered approach. We're prospecting for new students while also retargeting and engaging students that come to the college as a result of that. And there is no single period that we are doing a particular campaign. This is happening all throughout the year with that many campaigns going on. We've always tracked a lot of data whether it's the number of impressions, the number of clicks, the time spent viewing a video, but we've now added to that we can track how many clicks we get to the application button, how many clicks to chat, so we have much more detail. And that's a result of working with a new agency. We've always used an outside agency to purchase our media and track our media. Everything else we do in-house, so all creative, all strategy, all messaging is done within the department. But we switched agencies last year because it was time to revisit the contract. We ended up picking a different agency, and they added to the list of things that we've always tracked, the chat button and the application link. And you can see that they provide this information in a dashboard. So we can drill down to the campaign level and go into great detail, or we can have it roll up in aggregate to see the overall performance, which told us that last year we had a 12% increase in traffic to the website. We saw a 52% increase in visits to the credit application page, and then we can track the number of visits to the web, whether overall to the website or to specific pages such as skilled trades. As I mentioned, we do all of the work in-house, which has garnered a number of awards for us. We're up for a couple of awards this fall. We'll learn the results of that at an upcoming conference next month. So if you were to take all of these messages and try to put them into one campaign, it would be pretty overwhelming. It would be too much for someone to absorb the information. They wouldn't walk away with good information. But by breaking it out into different campaigns, that's still college-wide, it's still integrated, it's very measurable, and in some cases award-winning, but most importantly, it's effective. So with that, I will now open it up if you have any questions or comments.
Great stuff, Dan. Any questions for Dan?
Yeah, Dan, I have a few questions. So on the chat that we have, so do we have any professional person answering those questions? If any student have a question, or is just like a botic, he's just answering whatever the predefined question answer we have?
For the chat?
Yeah, for the chat.
Yeah, that is AI, that is a chat bot. We do have a call center, a help desk, or what is it? Response center, thank you very much, response center, that answers questions, but for the chat, it is a chat bot.
Good. And the other question I have is, are we tracking how many students are coming from, which ad is more effective? Are we getting more from a website or from social media?
Yeah.
And when the students are being enrolled, when they are applying, are we collecting that information from where they are getting the information?
Yeah, great question. So the dashboard allows us to drill down into every single platform, so we can see by campaign how each one is performing by platform. So for example, I showed in the beginning the transfer campaign. We had some TikTok ads for that. Far and away performed best on TikTok as opposed to other areas. It will vary by campaign because we're targeting certain age groups. We're going to use different platforms. But then we can see which creative is pulling best, and we can then maximize that. So that's where that data tracking really allows us to improve the performance. As far as linking that specific performance to application, we get that in general. Mm-hmm. So Priya will tell us, the research team will tell us, oh, applications are up, but we have not been able as a college to link how someone receives an ad, then goes to the application page, and then where that's coming from specifically for the application. We're not quite, that's kind of the holy grail. We're not quite there yet, but we are able to track all this other performance.
Got it. And do you have a process when someone started application and in the middle of that they left, or do we have any process to follow up them? Hey, you started this application. Is there anything I can help you out with that?
Yeah, that's a different team. It's actually a handoff. So at this point, when someone applies, then there's a series of teams, whether it's financial aid, whether it's the registrar's office, whether it's advising, is a team effort. And so anywhere along that continuum, any one of those teams will be picking up and following up with those students.
No, my question was, if someone left in the middle,
oh,
it never
in the middle of the
finished
application,
do you have any process?
I'm sorry? Applied but not enrolled. So we will follow up. We can run a report that says applied but did not enroll, okay, and we can follow up in that manner.
Okay, yeah, that's all.
If that's the question, yeah.
Yes,
I
thanks.
misunderstood, so thank you.
Any other questions for Dan? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And now we're going to move into our constituent reports. If I could ask the chair of the Academic Forum / Council, Andrew Kim, to please come forward.
Good afternoon, Board. The Academic Council had their first meeting in September 14th via Zoom. Each Academic Forum committee set their goals as information items, and I set my goals as well, and those will be voted on in next Thursday's forum meeting. I attended several meetings involving college leadership and policy administrators regarding faculty and staff concerns over the interim and proposed final religious accommodations policy. All those meetings were very fruitful. Met with instructional specialists and other instructional staff to listen to their concerns and discuss potential ways of increasing equity and inclusion among that, what I consider to be an underrepresented population here at the college, many of whom have the same duties and roles in front of the students as faculty do as far as curriculum and delivery of instruction. And then there is also discovered when I was reviewing Academic Forum charter language that there are several instructional staff members that should be part of Forum that aren't currently covered by current language, so we'll be working to fix that. And then I facilitated some communication between the nursing department faculty and Academic Integrity Review Committee concerning some procedural concerns about implementation of the academic integrity violations. Any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you. And President of our Administrative Staff Organization, Andrea Zamora.
Hi, good evening. I shared with you a report that updated from what we had accomplished at our recent meeting and some of the feedback that we have received from our members. We're in the midst of getting ready to launch a survey to gather some input. Some of our members have suggested that now that we meet periodically as a supervisors forum, that our meetings could be more around collaboration and also some topics of interest to the administrative staff organization members and perhaps some guest speakers. We did do an activity around change because we know that some of our teams are struggling a little bit with change. And so if you will humor me, I would like to do that with you so that you can have a little experience that we did. So do you mind just folding your arms however you would naturally fold your arms if you were cold or if you were waiting for something? All right, now take a look at which arm is on top. All right, now fold them the other way and put the opposite arm on top. It's harder than it looks, isn't it? So I would ask you to think, how does that feel? Does that feel natural to you? Did you have to take a minute to maybe figure that out? So for some of our colleagues, change is not easy. We like to go back to that old way of folding our arms. And so we gathered some ideas of how we could support our team members and our support staff in managing all of the change that we have had in the last couple of years. As I'm fond of saying, we didn't just move cheese. We took cheese and we gave people cheese that they don't like. So we need to support each other in that. And that's one of the things that the administrative staff organization is going to be doing this year as we support the culture of the college. Thank you.
I think we have a question from Dr. Johnson.
Yeah, it reminds me of what happens when everybody was teaching in the classroom and talked about let's do it in another way. And people said, no, I can't do it, can't do it. And then when you ask them to not do it anymore, I kind of like being home and doing the work. So once people get involved in things, and I think they find it was better than they had expected, and change that is.
Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is just that, it's change. And sometimes change happens not because we wanted to, but a new, we lose a system that we've used for years and now we have to use this other one, or the state comes along and says, oh, we need a report in a different way. So, it's not always easy, but we can help each other through it.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
President of our Professional and Support Staff Organization, Lisa Starkey.
My glasses for the first time. Getting used to this. Good evening, members of the board here and afar, and my colleagues in the galley. I'm Lisa Starkey, the president of the PSSO, the Professional Staff Organization. We've had a very busy month and submitted our full report to you, and here is my brief oral report. We have a PowerPoint slide, so I'll start with this great news that we had out of the Community Service Committee. The Community Service Committee collaborated with the College of Sarbanes Center for a back-to-school supply drive benefiting Hilltop Elementary School and Lindale Middle School. We had a result of over 3,000 items that were collected from our 3 locations of Arnold, Glen Burnie Town Center, Arundel Mills, and even our Sales and Service Training Center at the Mills. So we are very proud of the work that the college employees have done, coming together in spirit of community and collaboration. And this is our committee chair, Christina Thurston, dropping off many filled backpacks at Lindale Middle School. In addition to this committee, our committees have been meeting and established their FY24 goals. We will continue to provide the Board of Trustees updates on the committee activities each month. In addition to holding many meetings and a lot of activity in the PSSO, we finalized our FY 2024 goals. These goals are around the college values and the strategic plan. Our finalized goals are to examine opportunities to improve communication and availability of professional advancement, including career ladder, professional recognition, and professional development, to explore and implement opportunities to increase PSSO member engagement, including within the PSSO and college-wide opportunities. And our third goal is to explore and implement opportunities to improve workplace culture and climate and employee wellness through fostering an environment of positive communication, civility, kindness, and work-life harmony. And we've already been working very hard at this and hosting several workshops so far, and we have a lot of action items with these 3 goals. So on behalf of the leadership team of myself, Laura Howard, and Caitlin Silver-Negron, I respectfully submit our report this month. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. President of our Student Government Association, Zach Buster.
Good evening, Chair Uvila and the board. Good afternoon, President Lindsay and the rest of the board. Since our last meeting together, the Student Government Association has been busy. Over the past few weeks, we have been hard at work during our busy budget season, conducting over 15 budget hearings so far, with hopefully more to come as clubs are started and restarted throughout the semester. This brings the total number of active organizations on campus to more than 30. 2 weeks ago, the SGA opened up our applications for senators, receiving almost 20 applicants for the 15 positions in a full SGA Senate. This level of SGA engagement has not been seen in a long time. I asked around and many people didn't even remember the last time we had a full Senate in the SGA. That's how long it's been. And with a full executive board and soon to be full Senate, this year's SGA will be able to do so much more for our student body. We can become something ACC can truly be proud of. This increase in engagement has extended to events as well. From the club involvement fair to free ice cream Sundays with Swoop, over the past month, the SGA has hosted multiple events with 100 to 150 students in attendance of each. In the coming month, SGA intends to host even bigger and better events, such as an AACC Carnival next week with games and prizes and a Halloween meets Day of the Dead party we call Hallow Fiesta, where students can learn about cultural traditions, have fun, and eat tacos together. That said, when I walk around campus, go to events, and talk to other students, I feel this sense of community and connection that I really haven't felt in my years here at AACC. And I've been told by multiple students that my leadership of the SGA and commitment to collaboration and community has allowed clubs to become so much more connected this year, and other student organizations as well. I believe this success has been because of the commitment of SGA to my vision of helping AACC live up to the community part of its name by bringing people together and making sure this college is a place where everyone not only feels like they belong, but are inspired to redefine themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Nice report, Zach. Thank you. Thank you. And the president of our faculty organization, Dr. Deborah Levine.
Good evening, Chair Uvula and the board, and Dr. Lindsay. So the first meeting of TFO was held on Wednesday, September the 13th. And at that point, committee goals were presented as information items, and those will be voted on at the TFO convocation this week on Thursday. At that meeting, the Senate also voted to hold a special meeting of the Senate, which we held on September 27th. That meeting was designated to identify consensus recommendations for changes to the drafts of the religious accommodation policy, the student religious accommodation procedure, and the fundamental alteration review procedure. At that meeting, a motion was passed that did capture consensus recommendations from the faculty, and those have been input into the review process in a manner that is consistent with the interim procedure on the development of policies and procedures. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Dr. Levine? Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I'll move into the Maryland Association of Community College activities. Anne Arundel Community College will be hosting the October Maryland Council of Community College Presidents meeting and the MAC Board of Directors meeting on Friday, October the 27th in the Health and Life Sciences Building. And at the MAC Board of Directors meeting, we will vote to approve the 2024 MAC legislative priorities, which is an action item today for the board's approval. So I'm going to move into the only action item that I'm going to be bringing forward to the board. And it is that the board is asked to approve the draft of the 2024 Maryland Association of Community Colleges legislative initiatives as shown in Exhibit 1. This draft sets forth the community college priority for inclusion in MAC's legislative initiatives for the 2024 General Assembly. The draft 2024 MAC legislative initiatives include items for legislative action on the state level and issues that are affecting the well-being of Maryland community colleges. Trying to kind of skim through some of those. Presidents held their retreat on July the 31st through August the 1st. At that time, we agreed on the legislative initiatives and agreed to present them to the MAC board. So the implementation plan is with the board's approval of the draft 2024 MAC legislative initiatives. An affirmative vote will be cast on behalf of the college to approve the legislative initiatives at the October 27th meeting of the MAC Board of Directors. There are no fiscal implications. The main motion before the board is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2024 MAC legislative initiatives as presented in Exhibit 1.
I'll entertain such a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, before we get into discussion, I just want to give you a little background perspective. MAC was actually founded as a request from the General Assembly to try to get the 16 community colleges in the state of Maryland to come up with a collective voice. And I will tell you, the work that I've done during session, they always compliment us by not having 16 different approaches to discuss. They really like this joint voice, and they really would like other organizations to do the same thing. So it's a big part of what MAC is all about, is to have this common voice. And they've proved to be very, very powerful. Any other discussion? Okay, Chintami, if you would call for the vote.
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Uvula,
Approve.
Vice Chair Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Chowdhury,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Moore, Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Gwynn.
Approve.
Thank you, Chair Uvula. This motion passes.
Thank you very much. Is there any new business to be brought? I'm sorry?
I was just going to tell you that concludes my report.
It's not to be rushing you, And let me also explain that there's no truth that they're in the next room over here and set up on recording. They really are at the at Congress. Any new business to be brought before this body? Okay, our next meeting will be on November 14th, 2023. And because we are not voting to go in a closed session, unless I hear an objection, we'll have adjournment by unanimous consent. We're adjourned.